First, from something that wasn't answered previously, how do you prioritize the needs of the people that you serve in this very intense environment that we're in? Many of you are familiar with Stephen Covey, who makes that distinction between what is urgent and what is important. And I think what happens is you turn that around. Focus on what is important over and against that which is urgent, because everything today is presenting itself as urgent. When's the last time that you saw the news that it wasn't breaking news? Everything is just kind of breaking in. NFL, red zone, you have to watch every score that takes place in every game. Everything is urgent, but if you do only that what's urgent, you never get to what is important. Let me give an example. We have students that are in quarantine because of COVID. They're worried about their assignments and not getting the work done. Our response, take care of your health first. The quicker you get healthy and strong, the quicker you'll be able to respond to your work in a very thoughtful way. Give people permission to respond to what is important rather than that which always presents itself as urgent. A second point that was made in the presentations is that when we're communicating with people, to recognize the different levels of modalities. Not everyone is comfortable on Zoom. In fact, one of the younger members in the conversation said, I can't even imagine talking to my parents on Zoom. A phone call is just fine. And some of us are not all that comfortable with breakout rooms. Quite honestly, I'm in a program right now at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, 140 people, and they do presentations and invite people to break out or stay in a large room. I'm kind of amazed by the number of people who want to choose to stay in a large room because that's where their comfort zone is, and we have to accept that people are at different levels of accepting communication in this technological world. Yeah, it's been time to find time for reflection, how important that is. Contemplation is the opposite of reaction, and I think we could all admit that there's been a lot of things that have been reactionary, things that people have said or done that maybe they would not have said under other circumstances. So again, the leader sets the tone. It's very important that leaders set aside time for themselves for contemplation. In the midst of all this, have you thought about a retreat? Every president has told every other president since Dwight Eisenhower, use Camp David as often as possible. Get away, step back, reflect, because if you don't do that on a regular basis, you will not be able to handle the complexity of the job. All of our jobs are very complex right now, so reflection is a very important and necessary discipline. Robert Greenleaf talked about the art of withdrawal. In a systematic way, stepping back, being quiet, and paying attention to what is evolving. What also, as people have talked about in this, is how is it that I find a level of balance? This is critical. We talked about work-life balance, but how many people, their work starts at their dining room table. Then they have to clear off a corner and have dinner, and then they continue on with work. Do you have specific times in which you can work? Do you have specific times that's for yourself? Do you have specific times for members of your family who need you? Important, people have designed home offices, but it's still working from home. How are your social needs being met? What happens in terms of servant leadership is this. You have to be cognizant not only of the responsibilities you have in the workplace, but the responsibilities that you have to people in your own families, both your primary and your secondary community, and be willing to serve them both well.